Luton Town 4, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. The Hatters go crazy as they dismantle Roberto De Zerbi and his Brighton Chargers in a game that was emotional, a game that was fast, fluid, but the beauty in the game lay in the fact that Luton showed no respect to one of the most dangerous teams in the Premier League at this moment. I absolutely enjoy Luton Town, and I think I've made it clear before that I have a very soft spot in my heart for them. They, to me, embody everything that the Super League wants to destroy. And I don't want to turn this conversation to become a long soliloquy about how I absolutely detest the three teams that have been trying to break away and turn European football into something that would just make it one huge procession for the big league money people. But what I wanted to do is to talk about how Luton Town have shown the world that we love to see a Cinderella story, a team that has bounced from non-league all the way to the Premier League. And today they dismantled a team that has in many respects not shown some other Premier League giants any respect when they face them. But anyway, guys, it's your boy Izzy. And if you're new to this channel, please consider hitting that like and the subscribe button to let YouTube and everybody else know that you are enjoying this content. It took Luton Town next to nothing to make sure that they were 1-0 up. They started this game like a house on fire, and after only 20 seconds, Elijah Adebayo had already put them 1-0 up. Now, Brighton are a team that usually want to settle in and they want to control possession and they want to make sure that they can angle their attacks by making sure that their players are in good space and their passing always has to be crisp. Now, Luton Town did not afford them any opportunity to do this, and after only a couple of minutes, they were 2-0 down. Ogbene, who was wonderful throughout this whole game, managed to put them 2-0 up. And after that, it just seemed as though Luton Town were very ready for a match that Brighton were not ready to put across. Now, eventually, the game did kind of slow down a bit, and Luton Town still did have some good chances all the way through the first half, but Brighton decided to get into the game a bit more, and eventually Danny Welbeck did have a few opportunities of his own to put Brighton back into this game, but Luton Town defended admirably, and it wasn't before long that they were able to go 3-0 up when Adebayor scored his second of the game, and at this point Brighton were looking dead and buried. But if you didn't believe it, in the second half Luton Town got even better, and they managed to go 4-0 up, this time Adebayo managing to turn in a header, a very easy one. And at that point, Luton Town were home safe and dry. And if it wasn't for a few more good saves, Luton Town could probably have won this game by a bigger scoreline because they needed another save from Steele from Carlton Morris, who, when he found himself free on the left-hand side, shot the ball straight at Steele. What does this tell us about Luton? Luton Town have a wonderful spirit. And this is one of those games that you couldn't tell was going to be a blowout. But I did think that Luton Town were well worth some of the points that they had. They've been losing some of the games that they've played by very narrow margins, and this was a game that quite possibly lent itself to Luton Town because Brighton do tend to play very open football, and when they start games poorly, it tends to bleed off all the way into the game. So this is not to take anything away from Luton, but Brighton are well worth a couple of shellackings. We've seen it happen. Aston Villa were able to beat them 6-1 early this season. You can remember that game last season when Everton counterattacked the living daylights out of them and won 5-1. So Luton Town were good today, but Brighton also do have these games where they can tend to fall apart and capitulate rather easily. That is not to take anything away from the performance that Luton had. They went into this game full of electricity and they showed no mercy to Brighton. And after 2 minutes, they kept on piling the pressure on Brighton. And I don't think Brighton knew what hit them. It wasn't as though Brighton were missing too many of their stars or anything of that sort. It just was that Luton Town were very good on the day. And I think if they can keep this level of play all the way through the season, the sky is the limit. And I still have Luton Town as my team that might be able to break away from that bottom three and possibly save themselves. You can see it in their gameplay, and you can see in the way they organize themselves that they are going to be a tough team to beat. And if they can keep on doing this at Kenilworth Road, they can easily get themselves out of trouble. And I would love for it to go because Luton Town is a team that represents a lot more than just a team that came from the lower leagues. Luton Town's stadium is a stadium that just shows you how old school English football stadiums are, and the closeness that they're able to have in their fan base and the way they're able to get their team up for their games so far this season has been very commendable, and long may it continue. I hope that they are able to stave off relegation and quite possibly show the rest of the world that when you merit your progression up the league and you keep on churning out performances like this, the sky's the limit for those teams. So once again, screw the Super League. But anyway, that's what I got for this, guys. Thank you for watching this. Up until the next time, when I review the next few games, it's been your boy Izzy. And as always, peace.